Hi everyone, this is my third Flosstube video and I am doing it sooner than I expected. It's been a week and again I want to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. I just got back a couple hours ago from having lunch with my two daughters and they're handsome fellas and we had a really great time. I really love them to death and happy that they live locally so we could spend time together. So again, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers around the world. Okay, what have I been up to in the past week? Well, I've got some haul. I've got a little bit of stitching and did a lot of frogging. And then I also wanted to show you some of the tools that I've purchased or gadgets, whatever. Just in case you haven't seen them, maybe you'd be interested in them. Maybe I'll do that first so I can get them out of the way. And by the way, if you hear a little barking, it's my black pug, Miss Lucy Lou, who's obviously heard something outside and feels like she has to protect me. But first thing I want to show you is this little job here. My eyesight is not as good as it was back when I was in my 20s, and I have glasses, reading glasses, and I even have a magnifying light. But I saw somebody on one of the Flosstube videos talk about one of these. It's like it's over your head, right? And it's got a light. Let me turn it on here. And then they've got, I think, there's 5 different levels of lenses that you can put on. The only problem, I got it from Amazon, the only problem I've had is sometimes it's slipping down, so I'm not real sure. I'm screwing it as tight as I can, but if anybody has any ideas, that's the only issue I've had thus far. And it is somewhat heavy, and I have some injuries to my neck, so I can definitely feel the weight that it's putting on my neck. So if you have neck issues, that's something to consider before deciding to buy that. Secondly, I know everybody uses Q-snaps. I haven't found an actual Q-snap here locally. I found the replica, or one that is made by Joann's, and this, I made this size. That's what I wanted to share with you. I bought the 11 by 11 and the 8 by 8, and they are the same size, so you can connect them. So I end up with an 8 by 11 working area, and I find this a good size. The 11 by 17, I'm kind of, trying to do the needle around that frame sometimes is difficult. But very happy with those and how you can adjust, the intent of them and the sizes and make it just what you want to. So I think that was it. Oh, I think on my first video I talked about the floor stand that I had on order, and it did arrive. It's the Lowry Frame, and I found it from the UK. It was the cheapest one that I could find, and even with the shipping, they did have a first-time user, I think 15% off code, and I'm getting a glare here, but so I can't think of the shop. If somebody's interested, let me know and I'll go back to my computer and figure out who I ordered it from. And I like it. You do need some added weight on the metal platform, especially if you have a larger size frame that you're using, especially one of the wooden frames, the Millennium, or I can't think of the other, whatever, but you know what I'm talking about, the really heavy duty rectangle frames that take forever to order and get. But you seriously would need a 10-pound weight, 20-pound weight to make sure it was steady. I did buy, there's an extender piece that you can have to support the larger frames. I bought the 20-inch, I think, thinking it would be versatile for any size frame. And what I found is, since I'm keeping the frame up in my living room, that really the smaller size to have on there would probably work best on most of my projects. So I went on and ordered that, and it came, I think, yesterday, and I really like it. The size is great, and the mechanics of that frame, you know, I really like it. It's you can take it apart. It's not taking up, it's not a piece of furniture. You can slide the platform under like a recliner or a sofa if you're on the side. I know there's some other YouTube videos on people who have used them, but for the price that it cost versus the ones that I was considering were around $400 and up, not even counting shipping. It's a good way to go. And right now I have the project that I showed you, the one from Heaven and Earth. I can't think of the exact name, but it's the half of the face of a fairy and with butterfly wings, and it uses, I've got a snap, Q-snap on there, and it holds it just fine. So that's the news on that. I guess I will show you also what little stitching I did. Let me see if I can find the pattern. As you know, I was working on the Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers, and had it in a larger frame, and that just wasn't, I wasn't getting the tension I wanted. So for now I switched over to just one of these plastic embroidery hoops that I found at Joann's, and it does give a tight tautness to the fabric. May have some troubles once I'm finished. I've seen some projects where you can definitely see rings around the projects after you finish, or the finished piece, but this ends up being a pretty much full coverage, so I think that's the one thing going for it, that may not be a problem. As I talked about last week, not sure if the MCG Ada is going to distort it. I haven't done enough. I think I'll know once I do that first unicorn if it's looking proper or not. So still working on that, slowly but surely. I ordered another sampler from Long Dog, and it's Castles in the Air, and I don't think I showed this last week, but I love the little saying on the bottom. It says, "Dream a little dream with me," and this, I saw that on Instagram, and instantly, just because of that saying on there, I wanted the pattern. So that's what I have started. I had initially had it on some fabric that I dyed, and I don't know if it's the dyeing process or in the hot water. I wasn't really happy the way the floss was laying on the cross. It just, and I was using a laying tool, so to speak, and it wasn't helping. So I finally decided to put aside the wonderful raspberry color Ada cloth and went and got white and did the flip. I did cranberry, raspberry, whatever you want to call, DMC floss, and I've just barely gotten started. But again, getting real good tension on this Q-snap. I think the only other tool I have sitting around here I saw on Pam Crafty Corner, and again I got it off of Amazon. I'm trying to get this thing to turn off light. It's a little light, and it will clip on, and it's push touch, and there's 3 different levels of light, and then you recharge it by plugging it into your computer. So that may work for somebody, especially if you go to a retreat or somewhere where my dad's been in the hospital off and on this year, so it would definitely help if I was in that type of environment where, of course, you can't lug a lamp around. I could bring that, clip it onto the frame, and get additional light on the piece I was working on. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is something that I just find wonderful, and it's free, which is crazy, crazy good. Again, Pam's Crafty Corner had mentioned she was working on that piece for her father, and it was his sailboat that he built from ground up. And I kept on wondering, where did she find that chart, you know, that resembled what her dad's boat looked like? And she had mentioned Pick-to-Pat, and I didn't really know what it was, and I finally, I don't know if she put it in the snow note, the show notes, or had spelled it out, but it's picture, so pick, P-I-C, 2, the number 2, and pat, P-A-T.com. And it's where you can take a photo and it will make you a cross-stitching chart along with the DMC flosses. So to me, I've seen some others that have come from there, and it's rather amazing. They end up with, most of the ones I've done, with a long list of DMC, kind of like Heaven to Earth designs. But I'll show you some of the ones that I've converted, haven't stitched yet. The first one I'm going to show you is my Granny Vera, and she was probably born around 1809, and what I never knew about her, as I knew her much later in life, is she had to be a flapper. I mean, I watched a show, a new one on Netflix, I think it's called, I can't remember, it's one of their new series, and it's over in Spain, I think, and I think you have to read the captions, but it's during that time period. And I thought, you know, Granny was a flapper. She was ahead of her time. And this is the photo of her sitting on a porch, and as you can tell, she's got the flapper hat on. She's got short hair, cropped hair, which was very new for that time period. And although this is not a colorful piece, I think it will look really nice, and I think I'll enjoy doing that. So that was the first one I did. And the next one, I just had something I had ordered from the UK, and I keep pieces of paper that are unique for other crafting purposes, and this one envelope had the Queen's picture on it, and with the postage stamp, I just thought that is so cool. So I took a close-up and enlarged it, and it came out making a really cool pattern, and haven't stitched a stitch on it, but it's all ready for me to go. And I have one more I'm going to show you. This is a little bitty painting that I did. I adore Mindy Lacefield's paintings, and she has quite a few online courses that are very reasonable. She's on Facebook. She has her own quirky way of painting, and what I painted on was a little, I think it's 2 by 3.5 inch wooden little cards, like trading cards. And she uses this technique where you take bleeding tissue, and after you've laid some paint down, you lay some different colored tissue and you paint over it, and it will bleed and comes out with some unique coloring. So I made a little gal. These are primitives, so I liked her, and I decided, gee, that would be fabulous to convert to a pattern. So this is the one I selected. I've done several of them, but no two come out alike. But I actually bought the floss for this one, so I'm ready to go on that. I'm coming across, going back a little bit, on the long dog sampler. I bought another one, and I don't think I showed it to you last week, so I'll show it again. It's called Bandha Braves, and the colors you're not seeing very well. There's almost like quilt patterns in these buffalo, and then all the bottom portion are very intricate and have little figure humans on it with different colorings and different symbols. And it's actually not a very large piece. It's, I can read this, 154 by 312 stitches. So that's doable. So that was, I think, one of their new ones for this year. And again, that's long dog samplers. And because my memory's so not great, I'm going to show you one that I've got ordered and received that Lindy Stitches showed on hers. Of course, she was working on it. She's so prolific, I think is the word. Sorry if I mispronounced it. But it's this one. It's in a bag because I have the flosses. It's Here There Be Monsters, and it's by Elizabeth Needlework Designs. And I do think I probably showed this last week, but it's worth showing again. I just think it's adorable. I may change the colors up a little bit to give it a little bit more punch, but it's just really cute and very different from what I would normally go to. And now I'll go over some haul that I've gotten. In my shopping center really close to my house, probably 2 miles away, there's a Joann's Fabric, there's a Hobby Lobby, and there's a Michael's. So, you know, I can hit all three. And then Walmart just down the road, which has embroidery floss. So I happened to look at Hobby Lobby, and I got two things from there, and both these are kits, and they're both on sale. And this one just has birds on it, but it has a robin there in a corner that has the robin egg blue eggs, and my oldest daughter's name is Robin, so I loved it to start with. And then it has a butterfly down there. Sorry for the shine, but my second daughter Jennifer loves butterflies, so I couldn't pass it up. Who knows if I'll ever do it or not, but I think, what did I pay? $15, and it's got the fabric, the Ada, and the floss, and the chart, so pretty reasonable. And the second thing that I found that was on sale was at Hobby Lobby, and it was this horse. And on my first video, I think I mentioned that along with my two pugs, I have a paint horse. She's a Tobiano, and she's bay, and she's got a white mane, a black tail. She has socks on all 4 feet, and just really her markings are I really love them. I planned to change out the hair of the mane and make it more to resemble Gracie, and then change the markings on her face, so you know it would look more like my Gracie. And I don't know where this kit comes from. I don't know if it's Poland or if it's from Russia, but the thread is fuzzy. It's not glossy like DMC, more like wool. It feels somewhat like wool, and I just didn't like the way it was coming out. And plus I was going to add in the white and cream DMC to convert it to the white mane. So I went to the store with the little spools and just matched it up as closely as possible. Haven't started it because I had just bought all the threads, I think it was yesterday. Well, as you know, I'm hanging out at all three of those stores this weekend, and where is this? Oh, this was also at Hobby Lobby. It's not sophisticated. I don't have any grandchildren that are small, but it just is really cute. And I'll hold it up here in a minute, but inside of it's an alphabet, and it has animals to represent each of the letters. But it's the way, it's the shading inside of these, each one of these figures is like a fabric pattern. And maybe if I hold it close enough, you can see. But it's a design works. I don't know if you can see, look at the kangaroo or the pig and the turtle. It just looked like it would really be fun to stitch. And it was originally $39.99, and I used a 40% off coupon. I think it's $24. I looked at it and I thought, you know, I may not see it again, and it's kind of like quilting fabric. You know, you get it when you see it because it may not pass your way again. So, happy Mother's Day to me, I guess. Another couple of items. I got some more haul. I got my hair cut this week, so it's looking a little short, but decided to do the video anyway. But I got over to my hairstylist too early, about 30 minutes too early, and I live 40 miles each way, so there's a half-price book right by it. So I went in and I found this Better Homes and Gardens Christmas stocking book, and I just wanted to show you. They had like 4 or 5 patterns, and I think I got it for $5.99 the book, or $7.99. You could probably find it on Amazon. And I'm just going to hold up the copies I made to work from, the patterns. This one is really cute. It's a banded type of you know, stitching, changing with each band. And I know I've seen some of the patterns on Etsy, and this one would be real easy if you're not even making a stocking, but to use that same idea and make it into a rectangle. And granted, these are all from the same book, and this one was called Victorian, and again, it just had some pansies on there. It had pearls. I love pearls. I guess my name should be Pearl. But and roses. I love roses. Angels. It just had everything you would want, and just kind of a different type of Christmas stocking. So that's the second one I liked. Okay, 2 more. This one, I think this was old Saint Nick, but I don't know if you can see it. There's raccoons and I think squirrels at the bottom, and then there's toys, and he's carrying a Christmas tree. And I just felt like the colors that they had chose were not your normal Christmas colors, you know, Santa and red, and it just was really pleasing. So got that. And the last one was, I think, Snowy Forest Evening, and it had these 2 deer and then landscape and the 2 cardinals, which cardinals, other than robins, are my favorite birds. You know, they mate for life, and how cool is that? I mean, anyway, that was the Better Homes and Gardens stocking book, and I didn't even look to see what year it came out. Some more haul that I got. These next 2 are 2 things that I ordered, and they're by Kathy Barrick, B-A-R-R-I-C-K, and this is Rodney Rabbit, I think, or there's 2 different rabbits, and I like the border on this one because it had hearts, and it has the orange colored carrots, and Rodney is kind of steel gray, and there's a little bit of olive in it. I just thought that was really cute. and not expensive. I think these were on Etsy. And again, if you want me to look up what shop it was, I'll certainly be happy to do that if you leave me a comment. And the other one, again, you're going to see a theme here. It had a horse, it had a robin, and it had a butterfly. And this is called Fionna and Edward. And I don't know if you can see the detail on that, but there's the robin. I'll probably change the colors to make it more the traditional robin color. Kind of flip the colors of the wings and the tummy. And then see the butterfly, there's two, one on the horse and then one down below. And these were very reasonably priced, $10 to $12, and then probably shipping, and got here really quickly. I got a couple more things that I'll show you in haul, and sorry if this is too long, but I know I always like to see what people find, and it gives me things to search for if I'm in the mood to do that pattern. This was from Joann's, and it's a Leisure Arts Words to Stitch By. And I'm going to try and not show the patterns, but only the pictures. There were at least two that I really liked. One was this Morning Merry Sunshine, and it's primitive looking. This gal has serious bedhead. Anyway, that one I really liked, and I think I already just told you I like roses. And let me find the picture of the second one. And it's got the saying roses are red, violets are blue, but the subtle coloring on that, I think if you use like tea-dyed Aida or whatever fabric, or possibly you could even sew it on, you know, some cream Aida and then spray it with either tea dye or coffee. Of course, you're taking somewhat of a risk, but I think in those older looking type of patterns, you can't go wrong. Okay, now we're getting down to the final thing, but there's quite a few things inside this book. I found it at Joann's. I think it was a 60% off coupon, and at Joann's you can use it on books. And it's the Best of Cooler Design Studio. I think I paid $15 for this, and I just marked some of there's 4 different artisans that their patterns are in here, and I'm not going to go through their names, but this is really not my type of cross stitch, but it has I have this one blue and white plate. I don't know if you can see it. I thought that was really pretty. Sorry, this is going to be somewhat awkward, but bear with me. I've got so many pages marked. Okay, this is called Spring Fever. Again, a robin's nest there in the middle, and different type of, if you're into gardening or nature. And do you see the top up at right here, the little chicks and the eggs? I just thought it was really quaint. Okay, let's see what the next one is. Okay, you know I like Mirabelle. I've seen Lavender and Lace, I think Do Angels. Well, this one has a Celtic angel in it, and which is quite exquisite and very detailed. And again, this is a book that I got for $14, and there's like so many patterns that are interesting to me. Okay, I'm gonna have to bend this book this way so you don't see the pattern. These are crate labels. And this one says lemons, and I love that. See the lemon tree down there? I feel like pulling the threads for that one tonight and get going. It's just something about it I just adore. And I always like the graphics on, you know, vintage cans or products. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Okay. Here's also a family tree that's different than your normal family tree. And again, just think about the cost savings that these were probably all sold individually for, or were in kits, but they're all offered in this one book. And here's a paper doll with all the different outfits and the dog. And I don't know about you, but I certainly had paper dolls when I was growing up, and the I think it was McCall's, the paper doll that would come in there, and you know, I would love to grab it. And of course they didn't last very long because it was in a magazine type of paper. This one is a religious one, and it's "The Lord is my shepherd." And I think there was a dimensions kit that had something like the bottom portion in landscape, and I really think that, but it's not available anymore. I think you could merge this together and kind of figure out how to meld them together and have the look of that other dimensions kit that you can't really find the pattern for anymore. Another one is a sampler. I really do like samplers, and again, I may have showed you last week, but again, this is a larger picture in here. It's called Simple Blessings. I don't know if you can see it all, but there's a swan in there and hearts, and an area for you to put your initials, and just really fun. And the last one in here is in nature. It's called The Woods Behind My House, and it reminds me of Kathy Johnson's nature journals. This is getting out of control, trying to hold it. Let's see. Again, butterflies and bird eggs. No robins in this one, but I just thought it was really different. And I don't know how many I've showed you. There's got to be about 7, 8 patterns in here, and there's much more. Okay, these were the artists. It's on here. Linda Gillum, Barbara Batts-Hillman, Sandy Orton, and Nancy Rossi. And I know Sandy Orton and Nancy Rossi, although I'm just coming back into this, those names sound really familiar to me. So you might want to look for this book. I highly recommend it, and it's currently at Joann's is where I found it. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to share with you. Listening to some good audiobooks. If anybody out there has anything that they could recommend, or Netflix shows, or Amazon Prime, or Hulu, please leave me suggestions. I'm running out of the ones that I've already watched, and I can watch them one after the other because I sit for a long time. So looking for new ideas for either audiobooks or videos in any one of those formats. I also can look at CBS's TV shows through my cable company. I can do it on my phone. And as far as books, what I tend to listen to, I like the mysteries, James Patterson, Michael Conley, Barry Eisler. Barry Eisler's are really good if you haven't read that. Read them. They're set, a lot of it, the main character is half American, half Japanese, and it's really well written. I think I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to think of who else Kellerman. I can't think of her first name. There's her and her husband are both writers, but it's the female Kellerman that I've read the entire series. And on Netflix, it just came out with, I don't know if you watched Anna Green Gables when you were growing up, or the series. I think it was on PBS. Well, Netflix has come out with a season. I think there's 7 episodes, and it's called Anne with an E. And it is so well done, and it even brings out part of that story that I don't think were in the original book, but kind of expand on the story. It is just, it's quaint, it's children friendly, it's, even as an adult, it's thoroughly enjoyable, so I highly recommend that. Lastly, I think, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to say thank you. I think I have about 240 subscribers, which is crazy. I was at lunch with my daughters, and I got to meet my daughter's boyfriend, and you know, I've been seeing pictures on Facebook of them, and but I finally got to meet him, and I really like him, so fingers crossed. And Robin looked really happy, so that makes me happy. Anyway, God, I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was going to tell you. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, I know. Okay, I did a squirrel. My brain squirreled out. I was talking about cross stitch because they asked me what I wanted for Mother's Day, and I didn't want them to spend a lot of money. Just a card and getting together would have been really nice. But they kept pushing, and what I kept on remembering is when I was younger, and my grandma Gladys, she was alive from 1899 all through to 2001, I believe, or 2000, half a year into 2000. Anyway, she was alive through, hit 3 different centuries, which is pretty awesome. She was the art influence in my family. My mom was not crafty. I can remember, it just floors my mind that I was drawn to arts. I would get the little bitty children's, you know, your little horrible paint tins with the horrible brushes, and I would draw out the precious moments, and not, there wasn't a whole lot of water happening. It was very controlled, almost dry watercolor. Doing that deep into the night, and I would go and get, I think it was Hancock's back then. I wanted to make a Raggedy Ann. I really liked Raggedy Anns. I went and bought a pattern, bought all the supplies, made it by myself. And I keep thinking, you know, did Mom ever come in and help me? And she really didn't, because that wasn't her passion. But on my dad's side, my grandma Gladys and my Aunt Beverly loved quilting. My grandmother also did crochet. She did painted china, or, you know, did flowers on really nice plates, and she made us wonderful Christmas ornaments made out of felt and sequins. And I think maybe that's where the flame got lit for me. But I really hope my daughters, one of them, may, you know, start to do something crafty wise, and I would love to be there doing it with them. I have talked my sister into, I bought her a little small kit, so she can start. She loves cats. She's got 3. I found a really small, I think 5x7, I think it's Bucella kit. I took out the fabric and sewed the edges so it wouldn't fray, and then I made her a black and white copy of the pattern so she can mark it off with highlighter as she goes. So need to get together with her so I can get her off on the right track. So maybe I'll have a convert in the family. But anyway, I think I've been rambling on and run out of purchases that I have brought to the table today to show you, and hopefully I'll get more stitching done and be able to share more of that content. But again, thank you so much for all the comments and subscribing to this channel. I really appreciate it. Everyone have a great week coming up. Bye.